Mike's Daily Podcast.
Hello there, everybody. I would have done a podcast yesterday, but yesterday things happened, got out of hand, and so forth.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
That's the excuse I give every time I start a podcast. That's really great. It's episode 2328. No, I'm wrong. It's 23,027. 2,327. I think I said the number right this time. I think I am not going to be named Kevin, because my name is Mike.
Mike's Daily Podcast.
Mike Matthews, welcome to the show. So, today we will discuss something that's on everyone's minds.
Yeah!
And that would be, how on earth do I ever get any health care when it is so frustrating, the healthcare industry? My mom is going through it right now. She needs surgery. Now, it could be life-threatening. We don't know. She is walking around. She's fine. But there is a bizarre thing growing on her leg, and she needs help with it. And they are pushing the surgery date off into the future, later this month, even as far as next year. And it's just one thing after another. It's ridiculous. We have a feral cat that we've grown attached to. It shows up. It's very kind. It's even letting us pet him for a little bit. Can't pick him up, though. He's still very feral. But this cat we're getting close to him, and, we want him to be healthy. He still has not been fixed. Feral cats should be fixed so they can't make other feral cats. And, he needs to just be checked up and everything. And there are these organizations and these services around the Bay Area.
And here's today's podcast picture
that will take care of your feral cat. Today's podcast picture, is it of the feral cat? Should we do that? No, I think we'll do another one from the trip. Either from Dallas or Florida. I'll figure it out later. But yeah, see it at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Yeah. So they've had, and people tell us all the time, there's all these services in the Bay Area to help feral cats. You should go. You call them now. Try calling any one of them now, and they will put you on a wait list. You won't be able to get the cat helped until next year. And yet, just a few months ago, back in June or May, that's right, Basil the Boxer, he would not approve of any of this feral cat business. He'd be like, what? No. And I guess this would apply to feral dogs as well. But there seems to be a lot more feral cats around. Anyway, what this means is that, so back in June, the lady that basically got us involved with Rodler, the black cat, that is super sweet now and kind, but he was feral, and he was taken to the pound to be fixed, and now he's got his ear clipped because he was feral, and they re-released him, and he's been kind and friendly and the nicest cat, very unferal cat. So he's been unferalized. And apparently, the person who set that all up, she just went right out to one of the local animal shelters, brought the cat, they took the cat, fixed him, gave it back to her. Said, okay, this cat's now been clipped, the ear's been clipped, he's feral, so just re-release him, but keep an eye on him for the next 3 weeks. That's all gone now. Now it's like they want you to bring the cat in, and then they keep the cat at their shelter, at the pound, whatever, for 5 days. And then they will do the surgery, and then the cat gets re-released. So this might actually end up happening to one of the feral cats we have. Just letting you know, not that everybody has a feral cat situation, but if you were to even consider doing that to help that poor cat that you see out in that field, who does that cat belong to? How come I always see him outside? What's going on there? That's the situation. Here's the other situation. So that's led me in this weird, surreptitious way to talk about the whole healthcare system in general and how frustrating it is. And I know I've been through it. I've had to get things done, and it's taken forever, to the point that I just give up. People with complex medical conditions end up having a lot of contact with the healthcare system. Surgeries, doctors' visits, specialist therapies, imaging tests. That makes them experts, in a sense, on how to get the most out of your visits. There was a survey conducted by the New York Times, the Commonwealth Fund, and Harvard School of Public Health that reveals the top tips from some of the most seriously ill people in America. The top tips, how to navigate the healthcare system like a pro. This according to lifehacker.com. First, they say keep records of everything. Multiple doctors might order the same test. Your current medications may not all be in the system. There might be a delay getting records from one place to another. The more of your own records you have on hand, the better. You can ask each provider or office for the records from your visit, including test results and imaging. Bring a list of your medications to each visit. Write down any advice you're given. That's tough. I write a lot of stuff down and I lose it all. Or it gets frustrating after a while holding on to all of this stuff and what's the important stuff? Keep a list of questions you'd like to ask. Bring the list rather than relying on memory. That's a good piece of advice. I'm going to be visiting for my annual visit, and I'll probably bring a piece of paper. And in years past, I didn't, because I thought, this is going to make her mad. But who cares? That's what every patient should do, so she should be used to it. But she's a checklist doctor anyway, where she's like, okay, do you have any complaints? All right. What's the latest thing? What's your weight? As we go outside a cafe anyway, we're bringing Mike's Daily Podcast somewhere in Podcastro Valleymont. Somewhere in Podcastro Valleymont, the last place on earth. Are you within your BMI range? Of course not. No one is. If they are, they're too healthy. And they ain't over 6 feet tall, that's for sure. Because once you get past that, the BMI is useless anyway. Depending on how sick you are, you may not be able to handle all of what I've said. Ideally, you'll have a close friend or family member with some medical background who knows what questions to ask and how to spot potential problems before they occur. If you're not this lucky, though, if you're pregnant, you could hire a doula. But for most other interactions with the healthcare system, there's no equivalent. People in the survey sometimes said they relied on a person in their insurance or hospital system whose job was to coordinate their care. Check to see if you have that option. Half of the serious ill people in the survey had one, and 95% said it was helpful to them. More than half the people in the survey needed help at home, often from friends and family. Network with other patients. Many of the patients, 23%, found that people who had previously been through a similar experience gave them great advice. Almost every medical condition or chronic illness has a community somewhere, often on Facebook or on a patient's forum. For common but serious conditions like breast cancer, your hospital might be able to hook you up with an in-person support group. People may also gravitate towards you through word of mouth. Don't be afraid to ask if they have advice. You can discuss your care, find sympathy, and pick up even more tips from the people who know the healthcare system best. Thank you, lifehacker.com. Hey, wanted to congratulate someone. Hopefully will be out of the hospital soon. Someone I work with named Yvonne, her daughter, just had a daughter. And in fact, nobody knew what the sex of the child was going to be until a few minutes ago. Yvonne's granddaughter was born, and now she is in the world, and welcome to the world. I forget the granddaughter's name. But there you go. Congratulations. Hopefully the mom and everybody will get through the healthcare system just fine there, despite that. My lovely lady friend works for the healthcare system as a therapist. Works for a private practice, and she, she will answer any question of her patients. And she's very good about it because she's been through it herself. That's the thing, is a lot of, nobody exists in a vacuum. Doctors have doctors, so they should know that this is a serious problem. And they do know. I think a lot of them do, judging from what my lovely lady friend tells me. And shifting gears right now really quickly, I have been wanting to for a long time. I've watched maybe one or two of James Corden's karaoke, or whatever he calls it, car karaoke. And I have to say this, after watching quite a few last night, that I probably won't watch anymore because they're annoying after a while. Yes, we get it, James Corden. You have an amazing voice. It is a complete travesty that you do not have a hugely successful recording career. Instead, you have a very successful late-night talk show career, and you've done quite a few movies. Couple really bad ones. Cats. But I love cats in general. The kind that don't tell Basil the Boxer that, the late great Basil the Boxer, who you heard bark earlier. But yes, the movie Cats was apparently pretty bad. I did not see it myself, but that seemed like a bridge I could not cross. James Corden, however, does have a great voice. That's true. And yes, he starts belting out the song right along with the person who is also belting out the song. Occasionally, though, his voice is way louder, like he completely drowned out Elton John, drowned out Paul McCartney. They don't have those type of voices. So that was annoying. Fun to watch, but like annoying at the same time. James Corden, we get it, you're a great singer. Elton John saying, "This is my new husband, James Corden." And then Paul McCartney saying to James Corden, the story behind Let It Be, that he wrote that his mom had passed away, and in the dream, his mom basically showed up with the song and comforted him. And that's the, when Mother Mary comes to me speaking words of wisdom, let it be, let it be. And then James Corden said to Paul McCartney, my father and my grandfather one day came to me and said, "You are about to hear the greatest song ever written." And then they performed for me, Let It Be. And he was saying, like, if my grandfather was here today, he'd be, just utterly floored that I'm talking to you. And that was a good episode, James Corden and Paul McCartney, because Paul went back to his house, his childhood home. He had not been to it since he was a kid. Interestingly enough, the childhood house, he does not own it. Now somebody else lives there, but that person decided to put musical instruments in like the same rooms that he had written songs with John Lennon with when he was just a kid. But yeah, that was a good episode. But I can't watch anymore. I'm like, okay, I get it. The Adele one, that's a good one, because he's harmonizing with her and she looks at the camera going, wow, that's awesome. But what do you think about any of that we covered today? 336MM Daily, 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM as in Mike Matthews, Daily as in what this podcast will try to be. Hey, I missed a day this week. I had to get home. I was hungry. That's my excuse. The day got away from me. Look who's here.
Hello, Mike Matthews. It's Chely Shoehart, gift shop supervisor. We're somewhere in Podcastro Valley, the last place on earth, Mike Matthews.
That's right. Snow globes. Do you ever have anybody look at a snow globe and say Rosebud?
What's that mean, Mike Matthews?
That's the Citizen Kane thing.
Oh yeah, Orson Welles.
That's right. Who we once saw a feral cat in the backyard that we named Orson. And he disappeared, sadly. It's a scary world out there for the feral cats. Look who else is here. Hello, Mike. This is Floyd the Floorman. And this is John Deere, the engineer, Mike. It's great to be here. Where's Ken? Yeah, last time you guys showed up, Ken was here, but no. And I was getting on Ken today because Ken, he is always talking, like, things that he sees. He has to comment on every single thing. He's one of these, observant types. And I am one of them as well. And sometimes you're like, just, dude, yes, thank you for stating the obvious. Thank you. Just be a little unobvious, right? Can you do that for just a little bit? Just disconnect seeing things and observing them and then mentioning what you're seeing out loud. Mike, you have a checkered shirt on, which you will see. You will see that observation. If you go to MikesDailyPodcast.com, we have the short video clip of the day for today's program. Which maybe we may call this observation or something. I don't know. Cafe, I don't know. Cafe anyway. Find out more at MikesDailyPodcast.com. And you can contact me, 336MM Daily. 3 plus 3 equals 6. MM is in Mike Matthews. Daily isn't what this podcast tries to be, but gets interrupted. And next show, we will have Benita, the Disgruntled Fiddle Player, and the Brewmaster.
Mike's Daily Podcast is written and produced and performed by Mike Matthews. His podcast is super easy to find. Download or listen to his show and read his blog at MikesDailyPodcast.com. Email Mike now at MikesDailyPodcast@gmail.com. See you tomorrow. Bye!